Hey, welcome to VMware Barcelona, day 2. We are, John, have you had enough tapas yet?
It's the raw and the seafood. That's just, it's keeping me going. I am officially powered by ceviche, scallops, and steak tartare. So,
yeah, that's a nice mix for sure. So, John, lots of great conversation this week. This one I've been looking forward to. Some of our good friends from our business group, but talking some core storage with our good friend Jason Massae and Sudhir. Gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, glad to be back on.
So, what's the update? vVols, what's going on?
So yeah, vVols we've been doing a lot with it.
Yeah.
Main focus on engineering is now vVols. So, VMFS, NFS, we're still doing some work on that, but vVols is definitely our focus.
Really? Okay.
And so we've got a lot of customers that are asking, why vVols? What can I gain with vVols? Well, so like one of the examples is in U2, right? 8.0 U2 that we just released. You can now do hot extension of a shared disk. So that doesn't seem like that big a deal, but previously, anybody that was doing something like Oracle Rack, Microsoft, WSFC, anything like that, would typically use an RDM, which, that's like a four-letter word. They're horrible.
Yeah, anytime I hear RDM, I'm like, ew, gross.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, why?
RDMs.
They're like, resize. I'm like, okay,
so
fine.
They would use RDMs because even though vVols supported the function, you couldn't hot extend. And you had to use an RDM in order for customers that wanted to hot extend.
Grow that database, grow that clustered file.
Yeah. Well, now you literally, and the thing was that process with the RDMs, you had to go log into the array, expand it on the array, go rescan in the vSphere environment. There was actually quite a bit of work to it. Now it's literally like you're just changing a disk on a regular VM. You just go in, resize it, all of the nodes in the array or in the cluster see it, and now the disk is expanded.
That's beautiful.
Super, super simple. So again, that's something that you can't do with any of the other types of storage.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I mean, with the storage, you can do it with storage, but you got to have vVols on top of it, right?
Right, exactly.
So Pure, for example.
Yeah, Pure, NetApp, HPE,
on
Hitachi.
that note, so we've got Pure. Pure is obviously a huge supporter of vVols. NetApp has been on since the very beginning, and I will say, I remember the early days, the VASA provider for NetApp was lacking, to say the least, like early days, the very first version. I know they've completely revamped it and they've got a really powerful VASA provider, but what are some of the other storage vendors that are participating?
Actually, Hitachi has also got a really nice VASA as well.
Yeah.
And that's something where NetApp recently changed from being embedded on the controller to an appliance.
That's beautiful.
And so that's something similar to Hitachi. And there's pros and cons to both, whether it's embedded or an appliance. But when it's an appliance, there gives you a little bit more autonomy in like upgrading the VASA without having to mess with the controller.
Listen, ONTAP is a serious operating system, and they don't very passively make updates to that operating system. So getting a hot fix into the core ONTAP operating system, yeah, good luck. I mean, if you have an appliance, you want to make a change, you want to fix, that's a lot simpler project. So that makes a lot more sense to me. I'm team appliance myself.
Yeah, and the thing is that all of our partners, they're all very involved in the vVols development now. So it's not like it was before where everybody was kind of maybe a little bit laxed.
Yeah.
Now everybody's all in. We're doing all kinds of development, and the application functionality is really where we're adding features to these applications running on top of vSphere and being able to use vVols. And that's what we got Sudhir.
Why do we have a database guy here?
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about customers running databases, and DBAs are like, no, I got to have bare metal. Well, why can they run vVols now?
Yeah, so going back to the whole hot extend, the topic of hot extend, even before we go into that one, right? Let's go back to the basic question, why vVols?
Yeah.
And why vVol for workloads? See, what happens is, we just did this talk like yesterday.
Yeah.
We spoke about the fact that you look at 2 days, right? Day 1 and day 2. When you look at day 1 operations, that's typically the installation, the configuration, and people think that takes a lot of time. They are completely wrong. It's the day 2 operation, which is your backup, your restores, right? Your patching, your cloning, your masking, right? Let's say you want to clone a 3-node Oracle database, right? Think of the time that you have to go back to your ITA, basically put a requisition slip saying, I need to copy these lines from point A to point B The typical answer is come back in 3 days.
Right.
We'll have your stuff ready, right?
Fill out a ticket. We'll get back to you.
Well, and Dev will want 10 copies, and it's like this is a 300 terabyte database. Now I got to find space for that, or even if you have magic dedupe stuff, it's like just the time it took to copy that data.
Absolutely. Now with the power of vVols, right? The power goes back to the Oracle DBA, essentially using the plugin. He or she is able to say, you know what, back up this particular LUN or the VMDK that compresses a vVol underneath. Take a clone of that, attach it to another virtual machine, and lo presto, you have a copy that the software team or the QA team would use that, right? So vVol simplifies the day 2 operation. I would say vVol simplifies the life of an Oracle DBA. You know what? Take the word Oracle out, put the word SQL in.
Yeah.
Right? It is for any application. It simplifies the operational, the efficiencies of any workload. Right?
Any app developer that needs to test their code and needs to get a writable copy of that data that is not in production benefits from that. That makes perfect sense.
The other thing I typically see from customers is, you know what, I love my RDMs. And here's the reason why. And that truly could be the story probably 15 years ago, where RDM and VMDK did have some performance degradation or difference, right?
Yeah, what was that like, 4.0?
That was like 4.0, 3.5 days, right? Now we are at what, 8? Or U2, right? We come a long way, but the performance difference is like a 1%, right? So if we take that performance elephant out of the room, now we start looking at the operational efficiencies. Look at it. 1024 is a SCSI limit for RDMs, right? What happens if you exceed 1024? Now you got to go and get another vSphere cluster, right?
Yeah.
With vVol, it's what, 4,000, which means you can give 4,000 vVols to a vSphere cluster. So that efficiency or deficiency has been just able to scale up, scale out, right? But back to the whole topic of Oracle RAC. Think of it. When you had a Oracle RAC SCSI, an Oracle RAC with multi-writer, the attribute on shared VMDKs, right? When you had to, let's say, hot extended, yes, you could do it by adding another set of VMDKs, multi-writer flag, and essentially using the Oracle power, which is the Oracle ASM.
Stripe it, and then use OSM.
That used to take a long time, right? With vVol and the changes that we made in U2, all we have to do is go down to the array or go down to the virtual machine, one other virtual machine that comprises the Oracle RAC cluster, and I'll go through these steps in a very high level and say extend it from, let's say, 500 to 600 gig. It changes like what Jason said across all of the RAC virtual machines. Go to the operating system, recreate the partition, and then go to the Oracle ASM, which is the storage unit for Oracle, and say resize.
Their version of disk util.
Everything is done on the fly without shutting the cluster down, which is music to my ears.
Yeah. Well, if I built this high availability cluster, but then in order to do any storage extension, I have to shut it all down. It's like, why did I build this stupid cluster? Like, you know, it's kind of the thing.
Everything can be done on the fly. So there is no breach of SLAs. This is going to make people's life so easy.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. So, Jason, I know you're doing the core storage deep dive.
Yeah, that's tomorrow morning.
With Cody, that's tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Sudhir, do you have any sessions this week?
I have a session with Oracle databases on OCBS, but I've done like a couple of VMTs with Jason Massae, also with Gate of Grace. So Oracle BCDR, Oracle on vVols. And we had so many people up there yesterday, right? Yeah. Essentially, we were talking about Oracle and vVol, and they went this way when he said, you know what, RDM is a 4-letter word. They completely agree with it. So, you know what, kudos to vVol. vVols.
Yeah, Viva las vVols. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on Virtually Speaking, and enjoy the rest of your week.
All right, thanks for having us.
All right.